What's up, YouTube? Today I will share with you my 4 hot takes in the soccer card market. But let me say one thing, if you are a viewer from this channel for a long time, there is a likely scenario you will end up agreeing with me on those 4 hot takes. So for you, those are not even hot takes. But I suspect if this video gets a lot of views, there will be a lot of new people coming to my channel for the first time and they will disagree with me quite heavily on those 4 takes. So what I want to ask you is quite simple. Give a like to this video because I suspect I will get a lot of dislikes if this video goes viral, or if this video performs very well. For any newcomers to this channel, I welcome you guys and I hope you guys learned something on this video, and even more important, on my channel, because there is a lot of content that you guys should watch. That being said, I will go into the disclaimer and will be a short one, because you guys already know, no financial advice, and that's crucial. And English is not my main language, as you guys should know at this point. Any types of mispronunciations, I'm sorry. So the first hot take is a very debatable one for a lot of people, not for me. Graded cards are a risky investment. Graded cards holding in the long term, I'm not sure about that. Let me explain you why. The reason is quite simple. A lot of new technology will be added to the grading process, will be implemented, and this is a given that we know at this point. PSA have been hiring a lot of experts on this front. They end up buying. Actually, a company on this exactly topic, on this exactly front. So this is a matter of time, is not a if, is when, basically. Different narratives will be made going forward. Do not believe me? Well, I will share with you a couple of examples. So, 3 examples that this is already happening right now in the market. Not exactly new technology, but for example, different standards on the grading process, which goes exactly into what I was saying. So, new PSA 10s, let me say one thing. In soccer, this is still not very evident, but in markets like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, this is quite obvious, or even basketball, baseball. But for example, I follow a lot of the Pokemon market and this is very evident. New PSA 10s are more expensive than the old ones. The reason is quite simple, and look, PSA will never admit that in my perspective, but look, we are not naive, we know this for experience. If you are a person that end up grading with PSA for a long time, you should know this quite evident in my perspective. Nowadays the standards for 10s are way higher than in the past. Look, this is probably shocking for a lot of people that are new to the hobby, but a 10 in the past, there is a likely scenario could be a 9 or an 8 today. And look, those are just, I would say, facts, in the sense that most of experienced collectors, most experienced graders, when I say graders, people that tend to send a lot of cards to get graded, know this at this point. And look, I remember sending cards that I thought will be maybe an 8 or a 9 in the past, and I actually got 10s. Right now, guys, it's not easy at all. I'm sending cards with way better quality than in the past. I am getting 9s, 10s, sometimes 6s. This is actually getting a little bit out of hand in my perspective, but is the reality. And the market is already showing that. So in that sense, this is a fact. A Charizard with a new label will sell for more than a Charizard that have actually a old label, a old number, basically. So this is a fact. There is no debate around that, and we'll see in the future. This actually, in my now this is my opinion, of course. In the future, I suspect this will be even more evident, because right now 10s on PSA are real 10s in my perspective, but who knows if they keep changing some type of standards. In soccer, for example, and now I will focus more on the market we are investing. In soccer, the PSA 10 premium went down in the last months, and a couple of big cards are showing that. I end up choosing this as an example, the Messi 2006 World Cup. I remember I actually made a video about this, so you can even find that on my channel, that at one time you could buy, for example, a PSA 9 versus a PSA 10. For the price of one PSA 9, you could buy, I believe, 14 for the price of one PSA 10, I'm sorry, you could buy 14 PSA 9s, which seems quite a lot. I mean, do we think that's justifiable? At the point at that time, I said this makes no sense. I believe for the price of a PSA 9, I'm talking a little bit from the top of my head, but the general idea is the most important thing on this discussion. But I believe for the price of a PSA 10, you could buy 7 BGS 9.5s, and both cards are gem mint. So you can see this crazy type of mania for PSA 10 Premium, which is still going on right now in the market, but I believe we are seeing good signs of that slowing down. For example, I believe right now for the price of a PSA 10, you can buy 7 PSA 9s, which I still think is a little bit too much, but when you put in perspective, 14 versus 7 is quite a big difference. And by the way, those numbers are probably not entirely correct because the market changes every day, but you guys get the point. And one thing that is quite clear is the PSA premium for that card went quite down when you take a look 6 months, 7 months ago. And this is not the only card. A lot of cards end up facing this situation, this problem, whatever you want to call it. And now, like I said, this is my opinion, this will be even more evident in the future, just because the PSA 10 Premium makes no sense at all, in the sense that the BGS 9.5, SGC 10, look, I understand the PSA brand is way stronger than the SGC brand, and I totally agree with that. But most of the graders SGC have in their company or BGS, they are experienced graders. You can actually even make argument more experienced than PSA right now because there is so many new graders at PSA, but this will be a different conversation for other days. So the last example, and this is quite an interesting one, SGC is getting very close to BGS in the soccer card market. I'm not sure if this is happening in the NBA market, in the baseball market, Pokemon market, that I'm not sure. I follow the soccer market way closer than the other markets, but in soccer, SGC is actually one of the strongest grading companies right now, for a lot of reasons. But one of the main reasons in my perspective is SGC is very respectable in soccer, especially in vintage, and I believe that's the case in baseball, for example. But the thing is, I don't think the SGC is still close to PSA, if I'm totally honest. I think there is still a big gap. But when you compare with BGS, and I would say 1 year ago, I would say, no, look, PSA is the king, but BGS is a strong second. I'm not so sure about that right now. I believe SGC is closing the gap very fast for BGS. For PSA will be a different story, to be fair, but the reason is BGS have been performing very bad. A lot of controversy that there is no communication from BGS, and even worse, if you guys remember the Cristiano Ronaldo fake is getting graded by them. Look, it's just a mess. It's just something that people are losing trust on that brand in specific. I would still say this. I still believe for high-end cards, BGS is still a great company to go, but look, BGS needs to improve quite fast, or I can see SGC getting the second spot quite easily in the next 1 year, 2 years. I cannot predict that for sure, but I can see that happening because SGC is doing an amazing job and BGS is doing a worse job over time. With time, I'm sorry. So I think this is quite obvious. PSA, different story. PSA seems like a evident king in the market right now. Even that can change. People take things for guarantee. So who knows? Imagine if fanatics end up buying a Beckett or SGC and start putting a lot of money. Look, there is a lot of narratives that can change, and that will be the final idea on this point. Guys, it's all about narratives on the market. I keep sharing with you this a lot of times. When I end up getting into the market, and this is different than grading, to be fair, I remember the Messi 7-on-Bs being the king card for Lionel Messi. By the way, still is the king card for Lionel Messi. But one of the cheapest rookie, or even the cheapest one, was the Mundi Chromo card, this one. And right now, if you take a look at prices, you can make an argument for this card being the second most expensive rookie for Lionel Messi, or being at least at the number 3 spot. But I suspect in higher grades is actually at number 2. Of course, this is debatable because the SS sticker, there is less sales, but you guys get the point. You can see that this sticker went, and Messi have, I believe, 7 rookies. This went from the bottom, or at least very close to that, to being one of the most important cards. What ended up changing? It's not the card. The card is still the same. It's just a different narrative. Content creators like me and other YouTube channels way bigger than me, to be fair, or Instagram influencers, start talking about this. Look, guys, this is the first Lionel Messi card, and all of a sudden the market ended up waking up for that, and that card became way more attractive right now. And this will keep happening in the market. There is a lot of narratives that can still be made, in my perspective, especially when we start talking about pre-modern and vintage. In ultra-modern, things are a little bit more evident, but the entire market is about narratives, and this goes for cards, but goes for grading companies too. So do not take things for guarantee, because look, who knows, if in the future BGS says, I doubt that, of course, look, we have a perfect system to grade cards by a new technology, and there will be companies like Microsoft or something like that actually backing up that idea. Look, of course, people will start sending cards to Beckett in a crazy way, then, especially when you compare right now. So there is a lot of narratives that can change, so you need to be careful. I honestly, and this will be my final idea, I believe PSA is doing a good job on that front. They seem like they are actual leaders in terms of technology right now. So there is a likely scenario PSA cards will still be the ones that will actually hold in value a little bit better, but even those is difficult to predict. Moving on. So this is one that I believe a lot of people would agree with me, but new people in the hobby may end up getting shocked by this. The last bull run created unrealistic expectations. Let me explain you why. I got this question quite a lot. When do you think we will see the next bull run? Well, first of all, there is no answer, for that, because we do not know. Everyone, I'm gonna say this again, everyone telling you different is one of two things: a misinformed individual, and I believe there is a lot of guys that are quite naive on the market, because they end up entering the market 1 year ago and they think the moon is the only thing they should expect, things going to the moon, which is not the case at all, of course, or they are a scammer / pumper, whatever you want to call it, okay? No way in between. Look, there is a lot of people that are, I'm saying scammers maybe is a strong word, but you guys get the point. There is a lot of people that are really trying to push an idea because they have a lot of product to put out. Look, this is not in the hot take list, but I will share with you. I think a lot of NFTs are a scam right now in the market. I think a lot of the guys doing box breakers are a scam in the market. Yeah, hate me. I do not care, to be fair. I just think that because, look, when you take a look at box breakers, people are overpaying for packs that if they end up waiting a little bit more, they probably could find that product on eBay, and they are overpaying. A lot of times those guys from the box breakers end up putting a premium that makes no sense for those packs. And apart from that, they push an idea that you can get a one-of-one from Luke, a one-of-one from Kobe Bryant, stuff like that, or for Messi. If those people are a little bit more honest, and if you take a look at odds, you know that will be insanely difficult. You can tell me, yeah, but that's part of the fun. Look, okay, I'm not into that, I have to be honest. I never end up enjoying this type of gambles, basically. But it is what it is. For me, it's just a different type of gambling. The way people tend to put things, I believe, if it's not a scam, is very close to that. And the NFTs, look, that will be an entire video one day. There is NFTs with good value, and if you are an investor on NFTs, I think you need to be very careful right now, because everything seems like in a bubble. But there is, of course, NFTs. They have actually some type of value on the picture, on the video, on the file, whatever you want to call it. But most of them, and you guys probably agree with me, you see. Basically pictures, basically image selling for millions, and when you take a look, It's just perception of the market. And when you start talking about perceptions of the market, narratives on the market, things can change quite easy. If your NFT again, this is going a little bit far, to be fair, this was not the topic at all, but I still think I can provide some value with my explanation on this. If your NFT has some type of value, some type of implications that you can use in real life or something like that, I believe is a different situation. Even if the market goes down, you still can claim some type of real value for that asset. But if you are just investing in an artist or something like that that is very popular right now, who knows in 1 year from now, who knows in 1 month from now, okay? I believe our market... let's refocus on this topic. I'm sorry for going a little bit far with the NFT conversation. I believe our market is a market with an amazing potential, but what we saw last year could be something we'll never see again, okay? And I will share with you my example. Big part of my cards, big part of my collection end up going up, I would say 5x at minimum, and a lot of times 10x, and a lot of times 20x, okay? So... of course, yes, I made a lot of money. When I say I made a lot of money, keep one thing in mind. I end up selling a couple of things, but I still am holding big part of my end cards because I believe there is still room to grow. But do I expect another 20x, another 10x? I'm going to be honest with you, no. At least I cannot see that right now. Do not get me wrong, I believe we are still in an early stage of the soccer card market. But when people keep asking me, when will be the next bull run? The thing is, people asking this, they are not asking for a 20% increase, a 50% increase, which will be already quite amazing. They are asking for when my cards that I paid $1 will go to $10. $1 is just an example. People are paying way more than $1 for their cards right now, but you guys get the point. And that's unrealistic. There is a scenario, of course, that's why I keep saying no one can predict the market. If you tell me like this, look, in the next month the market will go 10x, I will tell you this. I doubt. But can I say for sure that will be impossible? No. Because look, if you end up telling me 2 years ago that the market will end up going 5x, 10x, 20x, I will say you are crazy. But look, that ended up happening. So no one can predict the market, but be a little bit more realistic right now. The market is healthy in my perspective right now, and I believe we'll end up seeing an increase, especially in vintage pre-modern, that will be 10% a year, 20% a year, 30% a year. Who knows? I cannot predict that for sure. With the World Cup coming up, maybe there is a likely scenario you can see a 2x, 3x. Again, those are random points that I'm putting out there. But what I'm trying to share with you is be careful, because expectations are a little bit too high. I see people online saying that the soccer card market will be bigger than Pokemon, will be bigger than baseball. And look, I do not agree with that, at least in a mid or even in the long run. Look, who knows in 100 years from now, but I'm not here to tell you if that will be reality or not. So, moving on. 3, and this is, I would say, a soft hot take that if you guys disagree with me, I think that's totally fine. Topps Merlin 95 is the best ultra-modern product in the market, and I will share with you my perspective. For vintage pre-modern collectors, it's difficult to beat this set. The typical headshot is a classic and looks beautiful. Apart from that, Merlin, and this is one thing that I believe a lot of people do not understand, is a crucial set, crucial brand, sub-brand, because Merlin was owned by Topps at the time, let's say sub-brand, in the history of pre-modern. So there is a lot of history with this set, and that's why I believe this set is quite special, even in the year 2020. Or 2021, because it's the season. Another hot take, all of the chrome stuff looks the same for me. I know that a lot of people will say, no, Topps Merlin is way more beautiful than Topps Chrome. You know what? Topps Chrome is way more beautiful than, Museum. Look, okay. All of those look the same for me. Maybe you disagree with me, and that's totally fine. Those are unique, and that's why I like this set quite a lot. Not a big ultra-modern guy, as you guys should know at this point, but I believe this set is quite beautiful. because it's simple and clean. And I end up sharing with you one thing that actually should put you in perspective about this set. I'm not trying to push this set by any means, by the way. Most of my money is in pre-modern and vintage, so if this set never goes up, I could care less. That being said, I actually believe this is the best ultra-modern set in the market, or at least is my personal favorite, which is a different thing, to be fair. That being said, I will make arguments for this set being especially one. So this is actually the original Merlin 95 in the season 94-95, and one of the most popular rookies, I believe is actually the most popular rookies, is a legendary player with the name Paul Scholes, which I believe is quite undervalued in the market, but no financial advice. This card, again, I own this card, beautiful card, and when you look at this set, the reason I like it a lot is because the typical headshot. Look, a lot of big cards in the market, like the Thierry, I could put a lot of them, the Zinedine Zidane, even the David Beckham Merlin sticker, the Rooney Merlin sticker, even the Cristiano Ronaldo 2002 Panini Football, all of those cards are all grails in the market, and for me, as a vintage collector, as even more a pre-modern collector, that this set is actually beautiful. Look, if those players, I end up putting the 4 out rookies in the set, if those players will be a Ballon d'Or type of player, legendary player, you guys know my opinion. I cannot predict that, and no one can predict that. That being said, I like it, and I will share with you, my favorite is actually Pedri. He looks like a guy from the Adam Family's show. Looks quite dark. I love the picture, and this set gives me, I would not say nostalgia, because I have no connection with those cards, but is a nice throwback, basically. So I believe for me this is the most beautiful set, and probably, again, for me, the best set in the ultra-modern market. Actually surprises me that a lot of content creators, that they say they are into vintage, they say they are into pre-modern, they do not recognize this set as an amazing throwback to the history of soccer, because that's exactly what's the case. You can tell, oh, but Merlin at that time was independent. No, that's wrong. Even on 95, 94, whatever, Merlin was a sub-brand from Topps in Europe. So this set saying Topps Merlin is, for me, is the same as this, okay? In terms of lineage, is the same. So that's why I like this set quite a lot. Another thing, I will not talk a lot about this set, because you guys can make your judgment. The parallels on this set, I'm saying the number stuff with color, is so clean, is so unique. I actually am a big fan. This is not even the best one, the black one. I saw, I believe, a Musial or a Camavinga, I'm not so sure right now, with the blue background, which I believe is out of 39, looks amazing. Look, gonna be honest with you, most likely this set will not perform well in the long run, because people tend to love Topps Chrome, basically Prism, whatever, those most popular ultra-modern sets. For me, as a vintage collector, if those cards go down a little bit, because they are still expensive for now, there is a likely scenario I will start buying a couple of those. Probably I will go for colored stuff, because I know the production for those stickers is a little bit too much for my taste. But that being said, I like this set quite a lot, and for me is a unique set that represents very well the history of soccer stickers. And again, surprises me quite a lot that more vintage collectors, but especially pre-modern collectors, do not talk a little bit more about this set. So, to finish this, a lot of long-term investors is a strong word to be fair, are just flippers, mid-term or short-term type of traders, type of investors. This is a reality that I believe, probably not a crazy hot take, but a crucial reminder. Just because you see a lot of people saying they are value investors in the long run, take that with a grain of salt, okay? Most of the time, a guy is not a value investor, but the market ends up crashing, and right now they think, you know what, I will go for the long run. It's very different than a true value investor with long run in mind. When the market was booming, and this will be shots fired, it is what it is, at least I'm honest with you guys, when the market was booming 10 months ago, YouTube content for sports cards, I'm not even talking about soccer, but for sports cards was at the all-time high. A lot of influencers, Sasha T was putting a video every day. Right now, not at all. The reason is very simple, guys. The views went look, I'm making content almost every day, and I'm noticing I'm getting a little bit less views. I couldn't care less. Of course, I will be happy if the market keeps booming again, because let's be real, I do not make a lot of money with YouTube, but my collection will go up quite a lot, and that will translate into potential money. But a lot of content creators, they try to ride a wave, and the thing is, that's totally fine. Everyone should do whatever that they want to do, basically, and I have nothing against that. But the thing that I do not agree at all was the narrative at the time. You know what, soccer cards, NBA cards, this is the future. I will be doing content for you guys forever. Of course, strong words, but you guys get the point. And right now the market went down. Those guys end up going to different hobbies, or basically they have no interest on doing content anymore, because they know the views will not be the same. And you can apply this same logic to value investors slash long-term investors in the hobby. Of course, there is people that have been staying on this hobby for quite a long time, and those should be a little bit, the opinion at least should be a little bit more respected in my perspective. But be careful with that. A lot of people that you are seeing right now in the hobby, 1 year from now, the scenario will be different. I know this is a shocking truth to a couple of people, but it is the reality. When everything is going up, there is almost a toxic positivity. So this is, you guys, I already talked about this. My wife works with social education, and we have conversations about this. When things are going very well, it's very difficult to see the worst case scenario. So in this case, what ended up happening is quite simple. There is a toxic positivity. Everything. If you try to be a reasonable type of person and tell, you know what, the market went up 10x in the last month. Maybe there is a scenario we can see a correction. People will call you crazy. People will actually insult you. When I started my YouTube channel, and you guys can check that by yourself because all my content is still online, most of my videos I was selling this. You know what? I think it's a good time to sell your soccer cards because the market went up so much that there is a likely scenario you'll end up facing a correction. Guys, I got a lot of faith at that time. People tell me, you are crazy, we are just in the beginning, 10x is not a lot. What? So keep one thing in mind. There is a toxic positivity when the market is facing a bull run, and there is the opposite, people being a little way too negative when we are in a bearish market, because at that time is when you should be positive, because if things are going down, maybe there is an opportunity that you can actually have a good entry point. But most people do not understand this type of stuff. I know it's basic stuff. Look, when I put things that way, you probably would agree. Yeah, when the market is going up, or at least is at all-time highs, yeah, maybe it's a good time to sell. Guys, there is more people right now buying Bitcoin at all-time highs than they bought Bitcoin at 30K. Because it's all about narratives, it's all about perspective, it's all about positivity. People, right now, the conversation is quite simple, and let's focus, for example, on Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is actually performing very well. You know what, Bitcoin is the future. Bitcoin makes a lot of sense. The dollar, a lot of crazy things going on with the government. There is all of these type of narratives, inflation. But when Bitcoin was down, I would say, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, I do not remember exactly the timeline. What was the narrative? You know what? Bitcoin is a scam. That ever made. Who cares about Bitcoin? Bitcoin should go down even more. The blockchain is not even that great of technology, which I disagree, by the way. So it's all about narratives, and you need to understand when things are going up, everyone agrees. When things are going down, it's almost a mirror type of effect. So you guys should think about that and be careful. I'm a collector investor in card games, not in the soccer card market, to be fair. I ended up entering a couple of years ago, but I already told my story on the collectible side on other videos, but I will recap a little bit right now. I've been collecting Magic the Gathering, and Magic the Gathering is still a big part of my portfolio, not only Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, a lot of TCGs. In Europe, TCGs end up being a big thing for a long time, not the same with soccer cards. Right now we are seeing a booming, of course, but I'm on this market for more on this market. I'm telling you the collectible market for more than 20 years at this point. And I remember I actually played Magic the Gathering competitive. I ended up going to the entire Europe, playing different tournaments. And I remember a lot of people at one time, at least when I was starting, telling me this, you know what, I believe Magic the Gathering is dead. And I will tell you one thing. The first time people told me that, I actually was like, you know what, maybe I should sell my collection. There is a likely scenario those guys are right, because at the time, like I said, a lot of negative thoughts for the hobby, a lot of negative thoughts for the game in particular. And luckily enough, I ended up not selling. And the 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 1 year, I cannot remember exactly, the game starts booming again. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. If I end up selling my collection, most of my big cards, special reserved list cards, which are very unique cards in Magic the Gathering, I end up losing a lot of money right now, because I would need to buy back those cards to keep in the hobby, basically, and I will pay way more than what I obtained in the past if I end up selling. And yes, basically the story is this. The first time I almost fell for that trick. But guess what? In 20 years, Magic the Gathering was dead, I would say 10 times, 11 times. And the first time was the only one I was like, you know what, maybe it's actually dead. Right now, when I see people saying, you know what, Magic the Gathering is dead, that's not true. Look, one day, maybe there will be a scenario. They are correct if the game is actually taking a lot of bad decisions, etc. But most of the time, and you can apply this to soccer cards, to NBA cards, the market is not dead. The market is just is all about cycles, is all about perception, and people tend to overreact when things are bad and tend to overreact when things are good. And that's the reality. That's what I'm trying to tell you. A lot of long-term investors, they are not that. They are just flippers that they think they are long-term investors, but if the market keeps crashing a little bit more, they will sell, because they are not for the long run. So guys, not sure if you guys enjoyed this video or not. It was a little bit different. If you enjoyed, I would be so happy if you can give a like to this video or share the video with friends. Does not matter what you do, as long as you promote the channel. Collect things you love, price is what you pay, value is what you get. See you guys tomorrow. In this case, tomorrow I will put a new audio on the Patreon side, but see you guys soon. Have a nice day and bye.